the most important raid I was on was on Crete, where we split up into small groups of four people, and we, with the help of local people, guides, they led us to the German petrol dumps. And they were camouflaged from here in olive groves and surrounded with wire, barbed wire. But they weren't very, very well protected. There was no sort of coils and coils of wire. It was just enough to deter people from trying to get in. And they're 40-gallon drums, and they were stacked easily as high as this room. You know, you start off with 6, then 5, and 4,
Sure.
then 3, and then 2.
Yes.
Great big stacks of them. And we had little bombs made of plastic and thermite. They were thermal bombs in linen bags with a time pencil attached.
Right.
And a little file of acid at the end of the time pencil. You broke it, and it took 2 hours for the acid to eat through a wire that was holding a spring back against the firing pin.
Right.
And when the acid burnt through the wire, it went down and set the thing off. And you had 2 hours to get all your bombs in position and get out of it. And I, with my luck, walked straight into 2 sentries. And I'm standing there with a Tommy gun over my shoulder, both hands engaged in holding a bomb, and looking at 2 rifles. And he said, "Him the And whoever coined the phrase, "Discretion is the better part of valor, and he who fights and runs away shall fight another day," he heard it right. I turned and I ran. Boy, did I run. But it suddenly dawned on me I was running into the centre of the compound, and the fence was that way. So I was flitting from tree to tree and tree. They only shot once. I think they must have been afraid of hitting a petrol drum.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So once I was out of sight, they didn't shoot anymore.
Right.
And I saw a group of fellows down by the fence. They were all lads. And one of them called out, "Is that you, Willie?" My throat was so dry I couldn't whistle. I said, "Yes, me." Dear, I don't know. So there's my mate Curly Jones with the wires. They were cutting through the wire, come through, and we followed them. And boy, did we put some space between us and that place that night.
I bet you did.
Yes. And did it go up? Oh, we had the joy of watching it flame shoot hundreds of feet up in the air. And I thought, well, I might not have taken part in any battles, I might not have killed any of the enemy, but I've done one little bit. I blew up thousands of gallons of German petrol, or it could have been diesel, I don't know. Well, it was.
And that was quite important, of course.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, it was the place where they used to refuel the Navy. We got back, and there was a high-ranking officer, "Well done, chaps, you did a magnificent job." And I thought to myself, if you only knew the amateurs that you're entrusting these jobs to.
Did you lose any comrades on that job?
No.
You didn't. No. And how many of you were there?
There was only 4 of us. We started off with about 50 of us, and we split up into groups of 4, each with his own target.
Right.
And we didn't lose. Oh, 2 blokes got captured. They got caught within the compound, but they jumped train on the way back to the prison camp.
Right. And
they reported back to us exactly a year to the day from the day they were captured.
Is that right?
And the CO said, "Oh, you're back, are you? It took you bloody long enough." But the one thing about that regiment that really sticks with me, there was no military discipline whatsoever. You were on trust. And you didn't feel like a trained soldier. I mean, you didn't march along with your head up or swing your arm. It was completely different to the guards.
Right.
But you had to be on your toes. You know, you had to show them that you were made of the right stuff.
Sure.
Yes.
So it was more relaxed.
I'm not saying that I was made of the right stuff, but I bluffed them into believing that I was made of the right stuff.
Well, I'm sure you were.
Oh, there are times when I had one of the funniest. Am I going on too long? Yeah.
Please continue.
Our sergeant got made up quartermaster sergeant, and we were expecting someone to get made up sergeancy. We were all speculating about who it might be.
Mhm.
And the adjutant called me, and he called me Mac. He said, "By the way, Mac," he said, "you're the sergeant from this morning." I said, "Oh, no." He said, "Don't you want to be a sergeant?" I said, "Not particularly, no." "Well," he says, "you are." I was very, very unsure of myself, so I went back to see the lads. And I said, "You'll never guess who the new sergeant is." He said, "No, no, who is he?" I said, "It's me." And they all jumped up and they were shaking my hand and slapping me on the back. I thought, you don't do this to a sergeant. But they were all right. They were a great crowd of fellows.
Yes.
And they weren't in the least bit jealous that I was the one who got made up sergeant. And we survived.
You survived.
Oh yes, yeah, we all came through. Oh, but we had some casualties in other squadrons, right? But our particular squadron, we managed.
So what other duties were you doing? There was that fuel dump which you blew up.
Yes, yeah. There we had some silly little jobs to do. We went through Greece, supposedly to help the Germans on their way through Greece, but we didn't have much to do with that because I think myself, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this because it's a political point. I think we were there to make sure. I've overtaken myself. Tito in Yugoslavia was, we knew, or everybody knew that him and his guerrillas and partisans were going to take the country over from the Communist Party after the war. There was a Greek communist guerrilla band as well. And I think we were there to make sure, because of the relationship between our royal family and the Greek royal family, I suspect that we were there to make sure that the Greek Communist Party did not take over. And it did come to a fight between us and the Greek Communist Party.
It did.
Yes. And they wouldn't admit at all that they were a Communist Party. They were accusing us of killing Greeks. We're your friends, we're Greeks, we're your friends. It wasn't pleasant, but it had to be done. We had to make them surrender and disarm them to make sure that they didn't take the country over after the war.
Right.
Now, I know that's a political point.
Sure.
It's
all right.
I can't honestly say whether it's true or not. It's just what I suspect.
Yes, sure. Now, being in the SAS, if you were captured by the Germans, would you have been shot?
The first SAS who came home and started operating in Europe, it seems Hitler gave out an order to SAS. There were a couple of our lads in Yugoslavia that they were shot an order of what was his name? Oh dear, I can't remember the German command. Remember there was he became quite a well-known politician in Germany after the war. And my memory's gone, I can't remember his name. But he gave the order for two of our fellows to be shot. Oh, what a pity.
And what uniform would you wear? Just the same British uniform?
Yes.
And was the beret you wore?
The beret, yes.
The green beret or?
No, the beige.
Beige.
But you could wear practically what you liked. I mean, some blokes used to have the old the sweater with the leather shoulder,
right?
Things like that. We had anorak type things. You could wear exactly what you liked. There was no. But I always made sure that I was dressed like a soldier, so that if I was ever captured, they wouldn't think that I was a
spy,
partisan. No, I was and I kept myself clean and all the rest of it. I thought if I'm going to get captured, I'm going to get captured as a guardsman, not a saboteur.
Right. Well, you played your part.
Oh yes.
You seem to have had quite an interesting time.
Yes, and we had some laughs, but at the same time, what was always in the back of my mind was what the other lads were going through and how easy, really comparatively easy, we were having. Because with us, it was just luck.
Mhm.
when we had a much greater chance of survival than they did. I mean, Ginny's crew lost a lot of his friends.
Well, that's right.
The 47th Marine Commander lost a lot of men.
Why did you think you did not have such a high possibility of getting killed?
Well, the rate of casualty, the casualty rate was so small.
Yes.
Yes.
But then you could have had a job and.
Oh yeah, it could have happened. It
Could have
just
happened,
didn't.
just didn't.
Yes.
I'm
And
sure.
then again, coming back from Crete or from the Dodecanese Islands where we operated, we'd come across the Med to Alexandra Harbour, across the Med in a naval launch. Beautiful sky, beautiful blue sea. But any minute, a plane could come along and blow us out of the water.
That's right.
It just didn't. And that's
Just
it.
didn't.
Yeah.
That's right. Plenty of people never get off so easy.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But I think, as I say, but of course, if I hadn't been wounded in the first place,
Well, that's
I'd probably been involved in all these battles. So perhaps it was a blessing in a way that I did.
absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Who can say?
Yeah.